Hello and welcome to this episode of the program from the State Assemblies, a weekly program that reviews legislative activities across states in Nigeria. On this episode, Edo State House of Assembly approves Governor Obaseki's loan request. Bauchi State Assembly advocates measures to address deplorable condition of the Ningi-Bura Road, as 3 members of the Kebbi State House of Assembly defect to the All Progressive Congress, APC. Details of these and many more stories will be coming your way shortly. I am Itaire Ikmeng. Welcome again to the program, and we begin with Edo, where the State House of Assembly has approved Governor Godwin Obaseki's request to borrow 8.55 billion naira for the procurement of mass transit vehicles. The House deliberated on the loan request from the governor and other legislative issues upon resumption from recess. Obehi Apresa filed the report.
The request letter, which was signed by the governor, requested the House to approve 2 separate loans for the procurement of mass transit buses. The first loan is to the tune of 18.5 billion naira, while the second loan is pegged at 50 million naira. The governor, in his request letter to the House, said this will not only address the transportation shortage in the state, but reduce the cost of transportation itself, thereby making life easier for commuters within the metropolis and environs. The lawmakers, in their deliberation on the governor's request, expressed optimism that the loans will boost the transportation sector.
The purchase of these buses will actually not alleviate the transportation burden of the citizens of the state.
Of course, it's going to also increase the infrastructural advancement of Edo State.
I wholeheartedly support that this request brought from Mr. Governor should be granted.
Following his confirmation of the approval by the 12 lawmakers present at the sitting, the Speaker, Blessing Agbebaku, directed the clerk to forward copies of the House ratification of the loan request to the governor. Also, the Speaker commended the peaceful conduct of those who participated in the nationwide protests in Edo State, while also condemning the violence and wanton destruction of public property in some states, describing the act as unpatriotic. A minute's silence was observed for those who lost their lives in the protests.
I think with this protest, the government, they've heard of agitation, and I'm sure by the grace of God, they will do the needful to make life easy for our citizens.
On the forthcoming governorship election in Edo State, the Speaker urged the lawmakers to encourage their constituents who participated in the last voter registration exercise to ensure they collect their voters' cards, as INEC has assured they will be ready for collection from the 15th to the 19th of this month.
Many thanks, Obehi, and we'll move on to Ogun State, where the House of Assembly in the week under review approved the State Independent Electoral Commission's request for a revised election guideline in line with the provisions of Section 3, subsection 1 and 5 of the State Regulations, Approval Law 2020. The House also received an executive bill from Governor Dakpo Abiodun for a law to improve electricity generation, transmission, and distribution within the state. Yemi Dalemo filed the report.
The communication of the Ogun State Independent Electoral Commission to the Ogun State House of Assembly for revised election guidelines was in line with the provisions of the Section 3, subsection 1, 1, and 5 of the State Regulations Approval Law 2020. The House unanimously approved the request following the presentation by the Deputy Speaker, Bolanle Ajayi, at the plenary presided over by the Speaker, Oludaisi Elemide.
The guideline for OGCEC be approved. Say aye. Aye. If I again say nay, the ayes have it. So table, convey it to the appropriate quarters. that they can now go on with their plans for the forthcoming local government elections.
Speaker of the House informed the lawmakers of the executive bill sent by the Governor Dapo Abiodun for a law to improve electricity generation, transmission and distribution within Ogun State, establish an electricity maker and key power sector bodies, enforce consumer rights and obligations, and for other connected purposes. The bill, which emanated from the State Executive Council, was necessitated by the passage of the Electricity Act 2023, which empowers states to provide a comprehensive legal and institutional framework for the power sector in the areas of generation, transmission, distribution, trading, and enforcement of consumers' rights and obligations, among others. This the Assembly promised to give an accelerated hearing and passage.
Now to education as we move to Nasarawa State, where major players in the education sector have expressed support for the passage of a bill to establish the Education Trust Fund in the state. This was the major submission at a public hearing held at the Nasarawa State House of Assembly complex in Lafia. Adams Abdul Kadri was there and filed in this report.
While declaring the event open, Speaker, Nasarawa State House of Assembly, Danladi Jato, described education as the backbone of any development in every society, thereby called for investment in education in the state. Danladi Jato enjoined the stakeholders to contribute positively so that the committee can have all the information needed to add to the bill before passing into law.
And under normal circumstances, a bill of this nature have to be subjected to public hearing. And the essence of doing this is to get ingredients from members of the public, critical stakeholders from the education sector, so that at the end of the day, the bill will achieve the purpose that is being enacted.
Academia maintained that Education Trust Fund B is coming at the right time, saying the establishment of Education Trust Fund will not only provide stable and sustainable funding for public schools and tertiary education only, but also reduce financial barriers for students and reducing inequality. In his opening remark, the Chairman House Committee on Education, Science and Technology, Ebe Yakub Bala, said the essence of this bill was to provide for quality education in the state.
The provision of adequate infrastructure for educational institutions under the control and management of the state. The
occasion had in attendance the representatives of all Nigerian Confederation of Principals of Secondary Schools, Academic Staff Union of Secondary Schools, Nigerian Union of Teachers, Nasarawa State University Kefi, Federal University Lafia, Isa Mustafa Agwe Polytechnic Lafia, College of Agriculture, Science and Technology Lafia.
Many thanks, Adams. We now move to Taraba State, where the House of Assembly has passed a bill seeking the repeal and reenactment of the state education law. Godwin Inaligu reported that two other bills also passed first reading on the floor of the House, and here is his report.
The Taraba State Education Law 2024 seeks to transform, restructure and reform the education policies that will make free, accessible and compulsory education system in the state. The law also seeks to enhance the implementation of education policy and management of institutions in the state to equip pupils and students with requisite knowledge. The House Standing Committee also held public hearing on the bill, where both oral presentations and written memoranda were received from relevant stakeholders towards its passage into law.
The Constitution forbids us promoting any religion. Nigeria is a secular state. So I think that these two sections is very important that we delete them, expunge them from this law.
Sections, the Christian and Muslim associations be deleted. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. the eye service. So, Madam Clerk, take note. This has been deleted.
Majority Leader of the House, Jethro Yakubu Zikenyu, raised the motion for the bill to be read for the third time as directed by the Speaker, John Kizito Bonzena. The House subsequently passed the bill into law. In a related development, a bill for a law to amend the Taraba State House of Assembly Service Commission Establishment Law 2024 and for other matters connected therewith sailed through first reading at the plenary. Also sailed through first reading was a bill for a law to make provision for the Taraba State House of Assembly, legislative forms management and other matters connected therewith. The two bills are being sponsored by the Speaker John Kizito Bonzena, representing Zing State Constituency, and Peter Abel Dia, member representing Umbamga State Constituency at the Assembly.
In another development, the Bauchi State House of Assembly received a motion under matters of urgent public importance on the need for government to take measures to address the deplorable condition of the Ningi-Bura Road. Abdullahi Aminu reports that the bad state of the road now compels people in parts of Kano and Jigawa states to take alternative routes to Bauchi, the state capital.
Critical condition of the Ningibura Road is said to be as a result of flooding and erosion, which is now requiring urgent government intervention in consideration of the amount of rain expected this year. More than 10 communities were listed by the member representing Burra constituency, Tankwa Ibrahim, among many others that are facing various challenges due to the bad condition of the Ningi-Bura Road. They include Lungusa, Marke, Ruwandinya, Sabangida, and Gwandabi, where the major bridge on the road is said to be nearly broken.
This road could cut up and become unmotorable and impassable if something urgent is not done. I therefore request the Honorable House to urge the executive arm of government to carry out emergency repairs on the road.
Other engagements by the Bauchi State House of Assembly at the plenary include another motion calling on the executive arm to construct bypass road in Soro town by member representing Ganjua East constituency, Dayabuladen Mohammed. If constructed, the bypass is expected to reduce the amount of hold-up and traffic on market days, as well as providing more socio-economic development to the state.
You are watching the program from the State Assemblies, where we bring you a review of activities and happenings in the State Houses of Assembly across Nigeria. We now go on a short break. We'll be back with more reports. Do stay. Thank you for being there. And we move to Ogun State, where the House of Assembly has passed a bill to enhance rural and semi-urban development in the state. Passing the bill on the floor of the House, lawmakers are hopeful that when assented to by the governor, it will help to address rural-urban migration in the state. Yemi Dalemo tells us more about the bill.
The passage of the bill followed the presentation by the Committee on Rural Development, which was later read and adopted clause by clause before the Committee of the Whole House and passed through the third reading, after which the whole House unanimously supported the passage through a voice vote. Sponsor of the bill, Batunde Teller, explained the advantages of the bill to include curbing rural-urban migration, ensuring even development at the grassroots, provision of basic social amenities, and crime reduction, among others.
To ensure rural integration, promote even development in rural and semi-urban areas of the state.
The bill to be forwarded to His Excellency Wabio for his assent.
The lawmakers at plenary also joined other well-meaning Nigerians to appeal to Nigerian youths to avoid acts inimical to the peace and tranquility being enjoyed in the state and the country at large. The Speaker, Oludaisi Elemide, urged the youth to continue to engage government through meaningful dialogue, especially on the high rate of inflation affecting the citizenry.
Section 41 of the same constitution, which also says and enshrines the right of free movement. That is, nobody has the right to debar or stop anybody from moving or going about their lawful businesses within the country.
We are only pleading for our youth to do things with decorum. We are pleading to them in the principle of fundamental right. Your right stops where my own begins.
The House rounded off the mid-year assessment of the performance of the various MDAs in the state with a charge on them to redouble their efforts at delivering qualitative dividends of democracy to the citizens of the state.
Still staying with Ogun State, the House of Assembly has thrown its weight behind the aggressive afforestation of more than 1 million economic trees by the state's Ministry of Forestry in a bid to protect forest reserves. Legislators, in an engagement with ministries, departments, and agencies of government, called for strengthening of institutions to meet set objectives. Here again is Yemi Dalemo with the report.
The mid-year assessment of 2024 budget performance of ministries, departments, and agencies of government afforded the lawmakers the opportunity to examine the performances of each MTAs, commend and suggest ways of improving the performance of others where needed. Thus, the Committee on Forestry, while engaging the Ministry of Forestry, headed by Mr. Taiwo Oludotun, lauded the ministry on the enforcement of boundary lines of the forest reserves in collaboration with the State Ministry of Urban and Physical Planning, as well as encouraging private companies in tree planting as part of their corporate social responsibilities, and also engaging various stakeholders in ensuring the protection of the ecosystem.
I've already impressed us with your revenue, and I implore you to continue to improve so we can be more better in the state, because it's part of our revenue in the state.
We also bought and got the assistance of FRIN, that is Forestry Research Institute. We got some seedlings from them. So this year alone, we intend to plant about 2 million trees. And we have commenced it. And so far as at today, I can assure you that what we have planted is well over 500,000.
The Ogun State lawmakers also appraised the budget performance of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, some higher institutions of learning in the state, and equally engages the management of the largest cement company in Africa, whose operation is causing some environmental hazard on its over 50 host communities in Ibeshe, Yewa North area of Ogun State, and resolved to constantly monitor their activities in the interest of mutually beneficial relationships.
Thank you, Yemi. Now, following the poor state of electricity supply in Ikom local government area in Cross River State, The State House of Assembly in the week under review called on the executive arm of government through the Ministry of Power and the Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company to urgently look into the matter. This was part of resolutions reached when the motion was presented by a member representing Ikom 1 state constituency, Abang Neji. Udwak Etim filed in the report.
Electricity has become important because of its ability to improve quality of life, drives economic development, provides essential services, and foster technological advancement. Absence of this infrastructure in today's world limits growth, expansion, and productivity, as people spend much money to purchase fuel for effective service delivery. This is the situation in Ikom local government area, as poor state of electricity supply in the area was brought before the Cross River State House of Assembly by member representing Ikom 1 state constituency, Abang Samuel Neji, while calling on the state government and Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company to urgently look into the power situation.
Ikom have been suffering for life for the past 10 years, or 15 years, or 20 years, thereabout. So it's unfortunate that with all the heavy industry companies like Ikom, there's no light to power those companies, those machines in Ikom. So today, with the House resolved that we should invite power holding company to come and tell us why Ikom is not having light.
Other lawmakers lent their voices to support the motion, noting that it is necessary for the people to enjoy adequate power supply.
So it shows clearly that Cross River State government, Mr. Speaker, if our economy is being affected by the fact that there's no provision for life, we will never do better. And our very generation will continue to do it. Section 14 of Part 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria empowers this Assembly to make laws in respect of electricity, establishment, generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity. We should not continue to take our people for granted. That Ikom local government contributes about 4 billion naira annually to the federal government. And today, this is the same local government that don't have electricity.
Speaker, Cross River State House of Assembly, Elvet Ayambem, assured that the 10th Assembly will continue to collaborate with the executive to ensure that the developmental projects, including rural electrification, are extended to local government areas across the state. It was part of the resolution by the House that government should bring relevant stakeholders together to light up Ikom and other parts of the state suffering poor power supply.
We now move to the North Central geopolitical zone, where the Niger State House of Assembly has passed a bill that seeks to repeal the state's Price Control and Monitoring Board Edict of 1984. Musa Mikhail tells us that the bill is a private member bill aimed at curbing hoarding of food items as well as inflation.
The private member bill, sponsored by a member representing Agaye constituency, Mohammed Etugaye, seeks to establish a board responsible for the even distribution of essential commodities across the 3 geopolitical zones of the state, as well as to control and monitor price of commodities in the state. After second reading of the bill, it was referred to joint committees of commerce, industry and investment, along with that of judiciary. Chairman of the joint committees, Yahya Abubakar, said the committees had met with various concerned stakeholders in order to be able to come out with its findings and observation.
That the bill seeks to control and monitor price of commodity in Niger State. 1. 2. That the bill seeks to establish a board responsible for the even distribution of essential commodity across the 3 geopolitical zones of the state. 3. That the bill seeks to thoroughly monitor the marketing situation.
The House thereafter dissolved into committee of the whole to take the bill clause by clause, phrase by phrase, after which it was passed into law.
A bill for a law to repeal the Price Control and Monitoring Board Edict 1984, Cap 100, and enact the Niger State Price Control and Monitoring Board Establishment Bill to now reach 2024 Those who support say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The bill, if signed into law by the executive, will help regulate food inflation in the state.
And in a significant political shift, 3 members of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the Kebbi State House of Assembly have defected to the All Progressives Congress, APC. Correspondent Usman Shehu has more on this development.
The defectors are Muhammad Umar La'amore, Argungu constituency, Yusuf Abubakar Tillibunza constituency, and Hashimu Usman Yaouri, Yaouri constituency. While accepting the letters of defection, Speaker Muhammad Usman Zuru cited the Nigerian Constitution's provision allowing members to switch parties.
The Constitution is very much clear that a legislator is at liberty to decamp to another political party where there is faction or division that sponsored his election, with reference to the proviso of Section 109, subsection 1, subsection G of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
In their separate letters, the defectors stated that their decision to join the APC was due to the crisis in their former party, which led to emergence of factions. In a related development, the House of Assembly received an executive letter requesting the nomination of Muhammad Ashur Garba as the chairman of the Local Government Service Commission following the demise of Mansur Shehu Mansa. The House invited the nominee for screening to appear before the chamber.
And this is where we bring this episode of the program from the State Assemblies to an end. Remember, you can still watch this episode as well as other news and programs on our social media handles showing on your screen. Till we come your way again, do stay patriotic and say something when you see something. I am Itaire Ikmen. Thanks for watching. See you next time.